we can read when it comes to our forefathers' records. Who are they to tell us that we can't read what our grandparents left us? So it was wrong for them. Who gave them the authority to canonize anything? We shouldn't have to prove whether or not it's validity or whether or not it's correct. We shouldn't have to prove that. But we have to, because they put roadblocks or snares in a way to stop people from going into certain records that would expose their religion. So it's written in the book of Jasher. Let's go to 2 Samuel 1 and 18.
2 Samuel chapter 1 verse 18.
Go ahead.
Also, he bade them teach the children of Judah the use of the bow.
Teach them the use of the bow. Because Jacob was known for using the bow, even in his old age. Jacob, our forefather, whose name was turned to Israel, he was excellent with the bow and arrow. So he said, teach Judah how to use that bow. Read.
It is written in the book of Jasher.
It's written in the book of what?
It is written in the book of Jasher.
It is written in the book of Jasher. Once we pull out this information out of Jasher, you'll understand the reason your Christian church and your churches and your governments will not let you go into these records. They will explicitly tell you not to go in these records. But in certain levels of masonry, when people get to certain degrees, we found this out through some research, they give them the book of Jasher after they get to certain degrees. Why? To show the so-called elite, or the people who are illuminate, to teach them the information and show them who they're really fighting against and who they're really fighting for. They give them this information. This is the battle between good and evil. So they detail, they really delve into this information to find true history. Our history, especially in America and throughout the world, has been distorted, especially in America. So if you go in the book of Jasher, you can get the biblical history correct. What happened, who's who, the whole nine. So, we're going into who are the Japhetic people. And I'm saying that we have to identify them, because you have some people hiding under that. Here's a picture or a map that the brother printed out for us of Asia. You see up there in the corner? It says Asia. And if you notice Russia is there, Europe is there, you got China on the bottom there. But as you can see, the European isles and the European countries are under Asia. Under Asia. Now, that could be a conflict, because we see Europeans in these areas. We see Europeans in those areas, but we see Chinese people and Japanese people all down in the other areas. But yet the landmass is connected. Can you see that clearly? We're going to show you that beyond any shadow of a doubt that the original Europeans, or the people that inhabited those isles, were and are Asians. There was one time that Europeans was not in this area. And people get this distorted when they use the word Ashkenazi Jews, because you have German or Russian Jewish people who came from Europe. They get it confused, because these people were living in Europe. You might think they're Europeans. But here's a perfect example. If it was 1,000 years from now, you would think that America was the original Americans. If it was 1,000 years from now. Don't forget, when they established their country in America, they set up a founding father. They set up a constitution. They set up a new world. So if 1,000 years was to pass, they wouldn't teach you about the North American Indians. They would teach you about Christopher Columbus. They would teach you about George Washington, Ben Franklin. You would think that they were the original Americans. That's the same thing they did to the Chinese. Same thing they did to the Japanese and the Asians or the Japhetic people who were originally in Russia, in Europe, in France, in Rome, in different areas. And we're going to prove that. We'll prove that beyond any shadow of a doubt. The Bible breaks down everything. Okay? You're going to find out that before Alexander the Greek, his father Philip was also conquering and fighting the Asians, moving them in the areas you see today. So the conquering didn't just start with Alexander the Greek. We go into Alexander the Greek because of the Bible prophecy of them taking down Persia. But before they had the strength to take down Persia, they had to take down the other lands within their region first. So we're going to show you how the Europeans inhabited Greece. We're going to show you how they inhabited Rome. We will show you how they inhabited Europe. Okay? But first, let's identify the Japhetic people. Let's go to Genesis 10. Let's go to Genesis 10. Now, this is some detailed, groundbreaking history here. So make sure you have your pen, papers, you write the scriptures, and then research it yourself. I need you to start, please, at the first verse.
Genesis chapter 10, verse 1. And these are the generations of the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth.
These are the sons of Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now, Shem is who we all know today. They come from Abraham's seed. You got the Middle Easterns like for instance, the Ishmaelites from Ishmael, which are in the Middle East, Saudi Arabia and those areas. They're the sons of Ishmael. You got Jacob. You have Jacob, which is like the so-called Negroes that fled into Africa in 70 A.D., the North American Indians, the Israelites. They're from the seed of Shem. Then you have Ham. Do you have a Bible dictionary? Let's grab a Bible dictionary real quick. Okay, grab that for me. I'll finish. Then you have Ham. Ham is the father of the dark races. Okay, now that's where you might get it confused because you see black people who came over to America from Africa. But they didn't start in Africa. They ran into Africa in 70 A.D. So just because you're dark doesn't mean you're from Africa. A matter of fact, I see dark-skinned Middle Easterns that look just as dark as Africans. Okay? Just as dark as Africans. All right? So we know that Noah, the progenitor of Ham, Shem, and Japheth, these are the people that lived through the flood. So the whole earth was inhabited through Noah and his three sons. So we know that Shem is the seeds of Abraham. Today, you have people like the Middle Easterns, you have the Israelites, and you have those families. You have Lot's families, which is Moab and Ammon. These all came out of Shem. like your policy